Well, hello everyone. Um, to say that I am thrilled, flabbergasted, gobsmacked, all of those things at this very moment on, what is it? Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. I should have worn my green shirt. Anyway, Monday morning is an understatement. Why? Well, because it feels like overnight, but basically since Wednesday night, my channel has finally reached some level of success beyond my, I don't know if my dreams, but my expectations. I've had this channel since about 2018, I think, maybe 2019, and I've had more views and more subscribers in the last 3 or 4 days than I have in the entire time that I've had a channel. And so I thank you and I welcome you. And yeah, it's amazing. So, all that to say that I thought since I have so many new people here, I would introduce myself officially and show you around a little bit. So here we are. We are in my front parlor. And I hope you know, maybe you don't know if you're really new here, my name is Beth. And I am the hostess of this channel, Spiral Path Arts. And I live in Alabama. And this is my Barbie dream house. Okay, it's not pink, but I will go into more detail about the house and give you a full tour of the house coming up. It's a video that's coming up probably in the next couple months because it will be my 3-year anniversary in the house and the house's 130th birthday. So watch for that in the future if you're interested in more about how I ended up in Alabama, how I ended up buying this house, and what I have done with this old beauty since I bought her. As you may or may not have guessed by my accent or lack thereof, I am not a Southern belle by birth. I am a Southerner by choice. I grew up in Michigan and then lived in the Illinois, Chicago, greater Chicagoland area for about 25 years before moving to Chattanooga and then moving here to Alabama. So what does that mean? That means that I drink Vernors when I'm sick. I can make a pretty good tuna casserole if I need to, and ranch dressing is my condiment of choice. But I have learned to love pretty much everything in the South except for okra. It is what it is. Further facts and history about me. I have 2 beautiful daughters who are now adults, and I have an ex-husband. He's on the wall, but he's so high up you can't see him on camera. Just an old family photo. And I was divorced in 2021, which is one of the reasons that led me to Selma. But again, the whole Selma story will be in the house tour video coming up in a couple months. All right, well, what I really wanted to share with you, and why you're probably here, is because I make things. I stitch things, I sew things, I create things. So let's go into my creative space and I'll show you around in there. All right, I hope you're not offended that I haven't cleaned up for you, but I really thought it would be best, one, if you saw it the way it usually looks, because we're friends here now, and two, on the same token, I like to keep it real. You know, I don't gloss things over just for aesthetics. So here we are. Here is my creative space. It's an overview from the door, and I know I'm going to be backlit, so there we have it, but I'm going to show you more in detail here. Maybe, hopefully, with better lighting. Let's turn all the way around. There's the sunshine. Okay, let me show you around. So this little corner is nothing very special. This blue cabinet houses my printers and my files and all that kind of office-y stuff. Originally, I had repurposed this cabinet to be my Cricut space, and it might go back to that shortly here, because I don't really use the Cricut as much as I used to, but I do use the printers. So we might do a little swap-a-doodle. Otherwise, kind of a boring little corner. I also have my folding cutting table here because I can open it over here and use it. All right. This is the main closet. Actually, it's the biggest closet in the house, so of course it has to hold all of my craft stuff and sewing stuff and not my clothes, because I don't have many clothes. But anyhow, I could refer to this as the Hogwarts room of requirement type closet, because if I need it, it's probably in here somewhere. I just have to deal with the avalanche of other stuff when I go looking for it. But it's a lot better than it has been, and it's, if you're new here, one of my big themes is using up what you have, using it in new creative ways, and working through your collections of stuff. Also, in a recent video, we've changed the word stash to curated collection, because it just sounds fancier. All right, so this is my fancy closet of curated collections. Let's move on. Over in this section, it's just kind of more storage and a little bit of pretty. I have my TV up here so I can watch YouTube and all the shows and stuff while I'm sewing, which we'll show you at the sewing center in a second. So here you'll see it's again more storage. I have 2 of these IKEA units with baskets in them. And I have a little altar here, witchy witch. I'll show you my witch's hats while we're on the subject. These are not necessarily my hats, although I made them. I made them for an event to sell, and well, long story short, I still have them, and decided to display them so they didn't get crushed until the next selling opportunity. But that brings us to something that I used to focus on a lot more on my channel, but I don't so much anymore, and that is kind of my pagan, a little bit witchy beliefs. But I don't make it part of my personality, but you know, if it matters to you, you should probably know, I guess. I don't know. This is kind of a cool item. This is a quilting ruler rack that if you're a quilter and you want one, I'm sorry, I can't really tell you where to get it, because I bought it in Illinois and it was made by a local woodworker, and we sold it in the shop I worked in. And I don't know his name, and the shop isn't open anymore. So this is just a storage shelf, nothing fancy, just, you know, all the things I kind of need to get my hands on quicker than not. Oh, here's this shelf. The match game video that went up about a month or so ago. I went through all my patterns and fabrics and matched them up, and this is my next pile. I can just, it's matched, fabric is matched with its pattern, and when I'm ready to sew it, I just grab it and can go, and it's right there where I see it every day. So it's been working really well for me. This little cart holds my serger and all my serger cones. I made the mistake when I bought my serger to buy, and it was years ago, every color of serger thread. You don't need every color of serger thread, but you know, I have it. Okay. There's Miss Maeve. Perfect timing. It's like she got her cue, except she's badly lit. Come here. In addition to myself living here in my dream house, I live with 3 cats. This is Miss Maeve, Queen Maeve. She lives in here. This is her domain because she doesn't get along with the other 2, and she doesn't like to be held. She was feral, but she loves people. Well, I don't like being picked up, but she loves people. She loves me in particular. She was found under an abandoned house in a ghost town near here on Halloween. So they found a black cat in a ghost town on Halloween, and they found the local witch and said, "You want this cat?" Her story is a little bigger than that, but that's a good story, so we're going to stick with it. She must have had some bad experiences in her early life, so she doesn't like the other cats or any other animal, basically. The other two kitty cats that live with me are Lilith. She is my heart cat. I found her on the streets during the pandemic of Chattanooga and brought her home, and she was itty bitty bitty. If I can find a picture of her itty bitty bitty, I will share it with you here. And she was running wild and almost getting hit on a very busy road, and she became my cat. The second cat I got while here in Selma is my Henry, and he is a big kitty cow, white cap, black spots. I'll show you a picture of him here. He is about the size of a small Cocker Spaniel now, and he found me when I came to Selma to buy this house. I was staying at a local Airbnb, and I was out on the front porch in the morning before coming over to meet the real estate agent to tour the house, and I was on my phone and having a cup of tea, and this black and white cat came up and was rolling around and rubbing against me. I was pretty sure it was a street cat, but I wasn't sure. And then the proprietor of the Airbnb came out with his coffee, and he said, "Oh, she's been hanging around quite a bit lately. I think she lives under the house next door." Well, long story short, he and I became very, very good friends. And also he took this cat in to his apartment. He's got like a little apartment off his garage. And because he thought that Henry was a she, and named him Henrietta, and thought that Henrietta was going to have kittens. Well, I made an offer on my house. Offer was accepted. I moved to Selma in June. Henrietta's living in the garage apartment, and I'm waiting for her to have kittens, because after she has kittens and they get to be about 8 to 10 weeks old, I'm going to adopt one, and I'm going to have another cat. Time passes. Henrietta does not have kittens, and I was like, cat gestational period is not that long. If she's having kittens, she should have had them. So I told him to take her to the vet. Well, I didn't tell him, but I was like, there's something not right here. Took her to the vet, and the vet laughed. I got to think the vet laughed. If I were the vet, I would have laughed and said, this cat is not pregnant because this cat is male. But he did have some issues that were quickly taken care of and was fixed. And then a few months later at Christmas, Henrietta, who is now Henry, came to live here with me. So that's Henry's story. So this is my command center. This is where I am the Geordie LaForge or Will Crusher of this Starship Spiral Path. And so I can have my sewing machine right here. Turn and have my ironing board right here, because the success of any sewing project is pressing as you go. And my planning board up here, don't look at what it says. If you can read it, probably can't, good thing, because most of the stuff up there is out of date. So a little background about me with my sewing and crafting hobby and lifestyle, artistic, creative lifestyle. I tell people when they ask, when did you learn to sew or when did you learn to knit? And my answer usually is, I don't remember specifically. And I think I may have learned to sew and knit before or about the same time as I learned to read. My mother she's still with us, but unfortunately, another more background, she has dementia, and we're negotiating and navigating that right now. Anyway, it's not what you ask. She made, I gotta say, hundreds maybe, because she made a lot of prayer quilts in her as she got older, but so many quilts. She made clothes for my sisters and I, and probably my dad and brother too. If there was something that she wanted, she made it. She would see something and see if she could make it. And she usually could, and make it better than what the one item she saw. So very artistic, very creative. She would probably never call herself an artist, but she clearly was. My sisters also have learned to and do all the fiber crafts, and my one sister in particular in the Chicagoland area is a fiber artist. She weaves, she spins, and she has her art on display in local galleries and shows and things like that. So there is that. And so I come from a background of fiber artists. And what kind of fiber arts do I do? Well, sewing is probably my number one. I've done it the longest. I have the most skills. I have been a garment sewer, still am a garment sewer. I have done lots of quilts and home deck sewing, like the curtains in here and the curtains in there and lots of curtains. And what else have I sewn? I don't know. If it can be sewn with a machine or by hand, I've probably done it. The one thing I don't like to do, and I'm not very good at, I'll be honest, are alterations. And of course, that's the thing people always ask. If you're a sewer, you know. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you could sew. Can you hem my pants? Can you take in this jacket? No. Anyhow, I digress again. As far as woolly, yarny things, like I said, I have knit for a very, very long time. And I taught myself to crochet probably at least 10 to 15 years ago. I don't know why I never learned younger, but I didn't. And then recently, and there's some things on the channel here about it, and there will be more about I'm learning to spin, both with a drop spindle and a wheel. And the reason there will be more is because I was gifted 2 full raw fleeces over the holidays, and they need to be cleaned and spun if they're spinnable, but we'll find that out when we get to that project. And of course, what brought a big majority of you here is my slow stitching, hand stitching type things. I also have done more traditional embroidery. I've done lots of cross stitch back in the day. So if it takes thread, needle, fabric, yarn, hooks, what am I forgetting? Spindles, I've probably at least tried it, if not done it obsessively for a little while, but they're things I always come back to. So the last corner of the room is this corner, and it has a door. This room has 3 doors. It has the door out to the main hall, but it has doors on each side. This is the center bedroom, and these doors go into the front bedroom and my back bedroom. I don't know if it's a Southern thing, a Victorian thing, or a combination of both. I think it's kind of a Southern thing because you can open these doors and get ventilation at night without having your doors to the rest of the house open. So you maintain your privacy, but you have some air circulation. That is my thought process, plus the transoms. But again, we'll do the house tour later. But the reason I'm pointing at this door is that it has a lot of stuff in front of it. And it's mainly a blockade because that door doesn't latch well, and Fat Henry always wants to come in here and push that door open so he can harass Maeve. So this is our solution. Just pile all the yoga mats and other things up against it. And here's a little sneak peek of an upcoming video. So if you're into English paper piecing and hand quilting, stick around. That one's coming up very soon. I've just got to keep working on the project. But the other thing I wanted to point out was this shelf unit in the corner that I have bowed to the idea of aesthetics a little bit, covered it up with Espario that a friend brought me from Tahiti. But this is all my dye stuff, my dyeing pots, my dye powders, chemicals, all that stuff. Not very attractive, and it seemed only right to cover it up with a brightly covered cloth. So this is something I love, and if you have been with me a while or you've gone back and watched some things, I do work a lot with ice dyed and other types of dyed fabrics and fibers because I love to do it. I just love to see what the colors will do, and but I ended up with a lot of dyed fabric. So for the last year or two, I have been working on finding projects to use it up. And then I have all the tiny little scraps, which leads us to our little fabric collages, which you saw in the box video. Okay, I think that's, oh, one more thing I wanted to show you. Okay, what kind of tour of an art studio would be if I didn't show you some of my art? Now, this first piece is not mine. I guess I indirectly created it because my daughter created it. It is self-portrait, and she did in college. And she hangs up here as my muse and my inspiration. It's also another witch's hat that I didn't have a stand for. Isn't that pretty? Anyway, she's pretty. She is a working artist in the Nashville area, and I often will show off some of her work. All right, this is a piece I did, I think, in the late 90s, and it's kind of pagan inspired. I might do a whole video about some of my, with more detail about some of my quilts and some of the things. These are not pieces I made, but they inspire me. I'm a Pisces, so anything water related, fishy kind of things. Plus Mardi Gras. Well, actually, I think that's more Venetian. It's something one of my daughters made in college or high school, I think. This quilt, don't remember the name, don't remember the pattern, made it years and years and years ago, but again, I dyed the fabric. I had to find a pattern that would show off all the bright colors, and there you have it. If you happen to recognize this pattern from probably the early 2000s, get in the comments and let me know, because I don't remember, and I was a bad quilter back in the day and did not put labels on them to say the pattern. This one is not from a pattern. It is linen and Kona solids and some ribbon. I'll zoom in a second and show you the ribbon. I made this when I was working for a quilt shop, and I wanted to feature the linen, Essex linen, and the bright Kona solids, and it was an interesting technique. If you're interested, again, let me know. Maybe I can revisit this technique and show you more about it. But the ribbon, can I zoom in? But the ribbon has these pretty little houses. This was long before my divorce when I made this, but I did title it Broken Home. So, I don't know. There was that. This is a little, actually, it doesn't hang straight. I didn't think about that when I made it. But it is a little trivet, rope sewn trivet with machine embroidery. I usually put it on my Samhain Halloween altar, but I had a space, so I hung it here. This little piece my daughter made for me at Christmas, so you can see my little antique sewing machines, and it's a bug. If you can't see that is a bug, that is a bug. And there's a little black cat in the sewing room. So she makes these, sells them. I'll link her Instagram and her shop in the show notes because she's amazing. And you can see it's tiny. It's tiny. It's not like a big thing. It's so cute. Okay, let's go on the other side of the room. Up here, I don't think there's any original artwork. I did make that cloth basket, but it's nothing in that little accordion book, but it's just a tchotchke pile. Another little gift for my daughter for Mother's Day one year. It's got hummingbirds and roses, and I don't think it'll spin. Oh yeah, bees. It's a little sun catcher kind of thing. Anyway, over here, what do we have over here? These are the first two of the Mindful Mondays chakra series that I put on hold. But if you're interested in it, I may come back at it with a little bit, some modifications. Anyway, we'll talk about that maybe later if you care. That was one of the first Mindful Monday slow stitch projects. Again, I liked the idea of the project, of this series, but the putting it together just didn't quite work out. Okay, anyway, enough about that for now. One of my goals for 2025, there's a whole video about it, is to learn some new skills and to practice some new art forms. And the latest one has been watercolor painting. So I've been following other people's tutorials online and in books just to learn techniques, because I'm a firm believer in learn all the rules so you know how to break them or when it's okay to break them. So none of these are really original, although the Zentangle things on here are kind of original to me. I mean, they came out of my head. I didn't copy them completely, but the idea. Anyway, I will never become a professional watercolorist, but it is a nice little change of pace for me. These quilting hoops that are up here I found at an estate sale, and they may come into use real quick. Bum, bum, bum. Another slow stitch project. Let's get the light out of the way. This is just a cloth, and there is a video about this that I could link here for you. Stitching my life together, kind of a metaphor. It's not really supposed to be an art piece, but it's kind of artistic. All right, folks. Well, this is where I make, where I create, at least where I do most of it. I do a lot in front of the television in the sitting room and, elsewhere. But this is my main creative space, and I'm glad to have you here to share it with you and to share more and more of my creations with you as time goes on. And like I said, I am gobsmacked, flabbergasted, thrilled beyond words that you all are here, that you all found me, that you all clicked that like button, that you all hit that subscribe button, and many of you left a comment, and many nice comments. And it appears that many of you have gone back through my past catalog and have been checking me out, which I also appreciate, but with the caveat that a lot of older stuff, I had no clue what I was doing. I'm still learning as I go. So, yeah, but I would love to hear more from you and get to know you. There is a community tab that hasn't been very active, but I do try to put things in there occasionally. But if we get more people popping in there, maybe I will. And I'll try to remember to link my socials, my Instagram and my Facebook in the show notes. So if you want to see more of that, that's there. And just come back and hang out and make things with me and share what you make with me and ask questions. If you want to know more, I can either do other videos or Q&As or explain things better. I've already had a few questions in the comments on some other videos about further clarifying some of the things I've been doing, and I'm happy to be open about that and share my process and share my thought processes and play. My philosophy of life is that living a creative life, even if you don't call yourself an artist, is essential. And the only thing that's going to save this world in the shithole that it is becoming, excuse me, but the only thing that's going to save us is art and being creative and creative thinking and creative problem solving. And that comes from making things and solving problems as we make those things and create those things. And creative people, I could go on along, and I have on some other videos. But also my philosophy of life is find joy every day. And when you're faced with the possibility of something that's going to bring you joy, do it. I have a tattoo, which I do not, I have my long sleeves on today, but right here on my inner arm it says, "Don't postpone joy." Again, there's a story behind it, so if you want to know that story, ask and I can explain it to you. But don't postpone joy, because we never know how long we have and what tomorrow will bring. And I'd like to think that I am living proof of finding joy, living my best creative life, and not postponing joy. Because as I went to bed last night, looking at not just the analytics on my YouTube channel, but snuggling in my very comfy bed, in my beautiful bedroom, in this house that is my dream house, and spent a lot of time in the last couple weeks with my dear friends here in Alabama, as well as talking with other dear friends and family elsewhere in the country. I was filled with a sense of gratitude and joy about the life I have created. And I've created it with the help of viewers and followers and subscribers like you. And again, I cannot express my gratitude enough, and my joy in having you here, but also my friends, both here and afar, local and elsewhere, and that I continue to follow my muse and follow the direction that the universe was sending me, so that as I went to bed last night and when I woke up this morning, I could look around me and I could look inside myself and go, this is really good. This is the life I've always imagined and I've always wanted, and good golly, never did I think it would be in Alabama, but here we are. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I used to sit, when I started this video, or not this channel, think, oh, I have to have a cute little tagline or saying, and I would sit and think about it and try different things and never like them. And then just as it happens, as it always happens, one just kind of developed. Here we go. Peace out. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. See you next time. Bye.